Let's start setting up the user interface needed. For that, we need the view controllers. So currently we don't have other than we are done with the databases, but then we just have one view controller, which is for the codes. So we need to start building the other user controllers or the view controllers which we need. So to first start with, because we are going to have navigations, and so first we need to get rid or at least add a navigation stack to this codes. So for that, I'm going to go to editor, embed in a navigation controller. So that at least pushes this pushes a navigation controller to this existing view controller, which is the code. So this is no more the initial view controller. So navigation controller has become the initial view controller now. So we have this now. Let's add all the other view controllers which we need. So starting with maybe I can start with again add view controller. So before that, let me add the view controllers needed. So start with new file, UI view controller. First thing is going to be we need to move the add code separate. Right now, if you see, it's in the same file. So I'm going to add view controller. Next, create it within, let's do codes. That's it. I don't need these placeholders. I'm not going to use SigY. That's it. And I'm also going to do something over here, which is go to its properties. Where do I see? Okay, I need to create. Now my code view controller is created. Now we need to grab one more view controller over here. And then have that association with the add code view controller, and also make sure that its storyboard ID is created then, because I'm going to use in storyboard instantiation through code itself. So that's added now. So add codes, whatever is going to happen is this table view is going to remain within its codes view controller, but this whole logic is going to move to the this side where I'm going to add all the UI elements needed there. I start with a label. So this is more or less going to be the author, the first author part. Who's the author? Then maybe I'll have a text field added. So I'll try to make it as similar as possible to the one I had built for similar to what I have here, just the author. And I had set a font which was I think I'm going to change that as well. System custom fonts. I had used marker felt thin, maybe 16 font size. Yeah, I guess. And then I'm just gonna have this with the placeholder. Who's the author? So that's what you see even here. So that's also done. So maybe I'll add this within its own stack view. Yeah. And let me add the other bit, which is choose category. So this is the new addition, which was not here, which is I'm going to add right now. So I'm going to include a label. Choose category. And then maybe add a stack view for this, because I'm going to have a horizontal stack view, so that I can add this button, which is whatever I had used is a tinted button, I hope. So I'm going to have added to this guy should go. Where did my guy disappear? Tinted button. Yeah, so that's what I had. So initial text is going to be none. Again, I'll do some customizations around it so that it looks more or less the same. And again, this font is going to be marker felt thin with size of 16 again. That's what I'm having. And then I need to have two of, and then what is the real quote I want to, so maybe I'll just have one more label over here, which is called as quote. And then I'm gonna have a text view. It's called text view, I guess. Yeah, just gonna include a text view, maybe limited size, and even this content I'm gonna call it what's your quote, which is going to be the placeholder kind of a thing even here. So maybe just to differentiate, let's have one. I think the font is fine. Maybe I'll just change the background color to maybe a lighter gray so that we can differentiate. Yep, something like this. What's your quote? I don't need a height, so this height can be, yep, it's fine, I guess. The height is okay for me, and this font is going to also change to marker felt. 16, pretty much consistent with whatever I have here. It's author, category, choose category, quote, that's it. And then 2 buttons at the bottom. So let's include all of this within its own stack views so that I can properly align everything. So we have 3 stack views right now, and then let's include one final one, stack view. And then maybe I might have to rearrange some of the things, because this might be fill horizontal is fine. Then I think one of them could be that it's one is leading, I need it fill, and even the last one which we added might be a leading, so fill. So at least that's also taken care. And maybe this, do I need to set any? Yeah, so that this goes to the right side. Let's see what's wrong with this one. Stack view spacing is maybe 10, I can keep. What about this guy? What's wrong with these two? Let's check that. And what is the problem with overall stack view? It's leading again, that's the reason. Can we fill? Now it's fine. So I can maybe increase this the width so that it just gets some more bit of width. 200 is, I guess that's fine. Looks a little more tidier. So this is showing as none. We will change some of those properties, and it's looking better. None, it's a tinted button, and at the bottom we will have some filled buttons. So I'm gonna have a one filled button at the bottom, which is going to be called add. Again, maybe I say add code. I'm just gonna have one more, which can be a regular button, and I'm just going to call that. I'm just going to call that cancel, to cancel and go back to the previous screen, maybe without doing much. So we can even embed this within a stack view, and then maybe align it to the bottom. So color and all, we can take care of some of the property changes. Which I might do is background, I'm going to keep clear color, and then even this color I'm going to keep this purple, which is my default color for this. And I might just have to modify the fill to maybe 10 so that it properly does its job. And then maybe I'll add those constraints needed: leading, trailing, and the bottom. So trailing can be 20, leading can be 20. Yeah, it looks better now. Maybe I can have, I think this is pretty okay. So on bottom was, I guess that's okay. So this is looking way better, and maybe I can add a little more height to this button so that it looks a little better. 40 could be, yeah. So this is okay. So I have all the buttons, needed buttons right now, and the screen more or less looks like this. This title you're going to see, I'm going to extend something so that you see that title coming up. But whatever feature we had implemented over here has to now move to this one. So that's what we are going to do now. So associations which we had, we might have to start moving all those. So because we had a touch event and the reference outlets, maybe to hide and show and all that is going out now. We don't need all of that logic. So let's go back to this controller and get rid of all those features which we had set, which is something like reset view and all we had done. I don't need that anymore. So I can pretty much get rid of all those reset function first thing. I'm going to get rid of that because we are going to do that from a different screen. It's going to give me error. So on cancel, it used to be reset. I don't need a cancel button anymore. So that's also going out. So we have to be careful that whatever we had set as the outlets and everything has to be removed. So I'm going to get rid of all that, even for cancel. So this is not needed anymore. Even these outlets we'll just remove. That's also done. So this is what even this we can get rid of, because I'm going to add a different navigation bar item instead of using these buttons. So I'm going to get rid of those things which we had done in the previous examples, and this is also not needed. So all of this goes out. So easily I can just delete all of these and just keep the table view. So that's gone. I just need the table view to be there. So only thing I need to do is to set the constraints proper. So you can just maybe say 0. That's it. So that's also done. So I think let's run and see. At least it should show I have not run this until now. Okay, it's already giving some errors. Maybe you can get rid of all those controls which we had added except for the table view. Let's remove everything else. Placeholder and all is not needed. Database remains. So some refactorings we are already doing. Registration of table remains, database delegate remains, and reset on show is not going to be reset, but this is the place. Maybe this we will reuse on show add code. I'm just going to keep it as a function instead of an outlet, because if we are going to use that as an Objective-C function for sure. I'm just keeping that. And on add code is no more needed because we are moving that, even that feature function. The database save is going to happen from the other screen. Get rid of all these. So we are cleaning up some of the things which we had done in the last episode. I'm just doing that now. I think this should be the last bit we are doing, and rest of the things remains because rest of the things are all related to the database things which need not change. All the things which we removed now are whatever the add features we had earlier. So that is removed now. And let's even maybe polish the user interface which we have right now. It looks okay. Quotes, is it still loading? Persistent stories loaded successfully. I think there is nothing available right now. That's the reason it's not showing anything. So let's start adding the basic bit, which was at least the title for this view. We don't see anything right now. It's a blank screen, clean slate. So main had nothing. It does not have even the title. So to add the title, I'm going to extend the UI view controller. So let me add one file, new file, just a Swift file which will extend UI view controller. Create that, and let's keep UIKit, and let's create an extension for UI controller. I could have even created an inheritance, but I'm more of a fan of extension. That's the reason I'm just creating this. So whatever I'm going to do is let me just bring that function right away, because that's more of a extension I had created for setting up the title for the whole view. I'm just going to bring that right away and then show you what is done there. I'm going to keep that marker felt font itself for the title, and I'm just going to set a navigation bar title appearance. I'm just changing the navigation bar appearance with some large title as well as the small titles, and setting it as this font, and then making it look more like how you had seen in the other application which I was referencing. So this is what I have, and all that I need to now do is to call this function within my view controller. That will make it work. All that I will do now, because I have the extension, so I can just call setup title, and I just pass the title, which is now quotes. So let's see whether this gets reflected right now in our case. Boom. So you already see that title. So that's how the small title and the large titles are available, but there is nothing in the table view to show because we have not saved anything in the database yet in this application. So that's what we are going to start now. We need to add a top bar, which I'm going to again use an existing implementation which I have. So all that I need to do is to set up a top bar. Again, I'm going to bring that code because I think it does not do much more than setting a top bar. So I'm just creating a function called setup right bar button, and then creating a UI bar button, setting all those font properties, adding it as add quote, which takes me to the other view controller right now, which will take me. And then I'm just setting the current we already added a navigation controller, and I'm just setting one right button to this navigation controller for the quotes view controller. So that's what is going to happen. So after I have called maybe the setup title, I'm just going to call setup right bar button. So this should at least bring me the right bar button which I was talking about. So let's see that. Boom, you have the add quote right now. That is also available. So this is what we need to now associate. So we if you see, I have in that function, I already have this on show add quote function selector already added. So it should already be coming here, and one of the if the selector has to work, it should point to the older Objective C kind of function. That's why we need to add this Objective C attribute along with this. So now we are very close to launching the add code screen. So let's bring that up now. So for that, all that we need to do is to create reference to the storyboard. Dot instantiate the view controller. So I need to init the storyboard using a name which is right now main bundle. We can keep nil because it's in the same bundle itself, and then I can instantiate the view controller, which is currently I can call it as add quote VC. Add quote VC is what I want to launch right now. So I can instantiate that using .instantiate view controller with an identifier. We already know what the identifier is because we had set the name over here as add quote view controller. So this is what I had set as the identifier. So I can just use that to call this function as well. So if I go to add view controller, I just reference this. So I get the view controller already, and I can maybe call it as add quote view controller. This you need to do maybe if you are using it if you need to call some delegate or something, you need to reference it then. So add quote VC is available right now, and I can just now say self dot navigation controller dot push view controller animated, and just pass this add quote view controller to animated to. Yep, that's it. So this should ideally now show the new view controller. Let's see whether that's working or not. Add quote takes you to the new view controller. So you can already see there are still some at least some things are still not working. Maybe we'll fix that. So this is already working. That constraints might be wrong. So let's go back and fix those. So I think the top constraint, nothing is set right now. So let's create that. I did not set all of those. Leading, trailing, top, and maybe do I need to set a bottom? Because it can, okay, maybe after I set a height to this, it should solve. I don't have a height. Yep, so I think this should solve that. Yep, so that's my view controller. And add quote, I might this is what, let me just check what is set for this. Clear color and tint is already set. Still it's giving me some kind of issue. Let's check once more. Quote. Okay, so this is solved. I need to also set a title here before because we can even call that other title over here, and that will also work. So let's go back, set even the title for add view controller. So go here, it's anyway an extension, so I can just call setup title and add quote. That's it. It should now start working. Go add quote. So this is also done, almost very similar to the other one. Now we need to start implementing all of these nitty-gritty features where it navigates to the other screen. I guess I will start from bringing that category because we don't have any category created yet. So I need to go down that path initially to go to that screen and then create those categories before I come back and implement all of this. So I think let's get started with creating all the other things before refining all of these screens. So I'm going to go starting from this none, which takes me to the other screen. So let's go there. So I might have to start adding all the outlets needed now from this screen. So I'm gonna go, I think I can finish this in some time, all of these functionalities. So I need who's the author. So this is author text field. Do I need, okay, that's needed. Then I need an action for this, plus I also need a reference to this. Well, I'll show you why, because based on the color chosen, it also changes its own color. So I just want an outlet. So this is choose category button outlet, plus I also need an action for that. So maybe I'll also create that on choose category inside function, which will take me to the new view controller, which I will create right now. Plus I need this reference, which is to get my quote. So quote text view, that's also taken care. So we'll come backwards after this is done. Now maybe I need add quote reference to also set these text. I don't know why this attribute is not getting set. Maybe I just need a reference. I think I've made some mistake in setting up the color property, or at least the background tint or something over here. But let me add the add quote function, which is actually for saving and going back to the previous screen. So that is also connected. Now we have that function as well. So, and cancel as well. Let's even bring that, and before we go to the next screen, so that at least this bit is taken to completion on cancel. That's also done. So we have all the functions needed, plus all these outlets are already available. So next, let's get on with bringing the new view controller, which is, let's quickly add one more view controller, which is for the categories. So listing all the categories needed. I'm gonna create a file, gonna call it categories view controller. Oh, that's wrong. I should be creating a view controller. Categories view controller. I don't need an XIB. I'll just create that again. I don't need any of these. I'm going to set up the title right away because I have the extension available. Set up title, and that title is going to be categories. That's also created, and I need to create a view controller for that. At least add it in the storyboard as well. View controller. That's my view controller, and then I set its view controller over here, plus also the storyboard identified. That's also done. So we are very close to launching this, but this also needs a table view. So even maybe I can bring that fast. Table view. And its constraints. Yeah, and maybe I'll also add the outlet, because anyway we need to start using, at least we need to create one category before we can do anything. So let's bring that first. Doing first thing first is that let's bring that category added. So this is a table view. That's also done, and we also will need a similar add category right button, similar to what we did here. So maybe I can reuse the same function, reuse the same thing which we created. So where is my categories view controller? It has its title set, similar to codes. I'm going to say set up right bar button even for this one. Do I need that? Yes, I need that. So from categories I will need a function to, maybe this can be a private function. It's not used anywhere else, even in the other place. So codes view controller private function, and let's go back. So here I'm going to just say set up title. So it's going to be the similar kind of title, but I can just say category, and I need to add a function called on show category, on show add category. I hope I'm not making any mistakes here. Function on show add category. Does not need any parameters, no return types, but it should be an Objective-C type. C. That's it. So that should resolve most of those issues. Setup right action has to be called here so that we see that add category button. So here, from here is where it's going to launch the other screen. So just verifying once that I am doing it. I'm using on show add category. So we are in the right track. So let me go back and maybe again, these are some private function, and let me go back to the main screen storyboard and create, or even before that, let me create a view controller for the other one. So we are coming backwards now. So category is something very much which should start. So I'm just going to create category view controller, get rid of, do some cleanup, Segway, I hate, and set up title. This should be add category. So we are almost near to setting up the category right now, I think. Going back, add a view controller, and class storyboard identifier. That's also done. So this is my add category screen, and let's go back and then at least see if the things are in place or not. So I was in the category screen. It should launch the story from the storyboard. So I need access to the storyboard. UI storyboard dot init using again the main null, and I now need the view controller, which is going to be instantiated using the storyboard with the identifier. We have set it as do I have it saved? Yep. Add category view controller as add category view controller. So I'm just going to say if let that is available, then I am going to use self.navigation controller dot push. So it's going to get pushed from one after the other. So I have this VC, which I'm going to launch true. So this should at least take us until the last screen. So let's see whether this is working or not. So everything which is needed is set up from categories. It should take me to now the add category screen. So I have the add code. When I click on none, nothing is happening. So I need to associate even that before I go to categories. So let's go back to add code view controller. I need to instantiate on choose category I have. So this is where I need that. I think I should just copy paste whatever I have created here. View controllers. Maybe I'll optimize everything later once I am I have a more refined code base. So this is what I have, and then I need to launch categories from here. Categories view controller. That's what I will launch from here. So this is code. This is that bit of code. Add code does work. Categories, I don't have any categories yet, so I can go to categories. So this is where I'm going to add the first category, which is going to start now. So we have set up everything back to back. Now is the time that we start working backwards from, let's say, add category, where we need the functionality to be done. So let's start with bringing all the screens, or at least whatever we need in the add category screen. So let's go back and see what needs to be done there. So let's go there. So I have the main category view controller, and how should the screen look like? Let me reference. So it's going to be an interesting screen. It does not have too many things, but then it's still interesting because it needs to have, similar to what we had added earlier, a label. It's somewhere at the top. I'll just keep some space. I'm going to call it category. And then I'm going to have a text field to add the category. Then let's bring them together using a stack view. And then I need to have maybe another field, a label again to have. Should I have a label? I think I need to have a view. Okay, I'm gonna have a label. It's something different I'm gonna make here, and I'm gonna have a view under it, like an underline, which will actually bring the color which I'm going to choose. That will show you what is going to happen there. So I'm going to bring a view there, a small view. So these two I need to combine now. So I'm just going to keep these two together, and maybe just for understanding or differentiating, I'm just going to add a color, a gray color maybe, and these two should be together in a stack. Maybe I'll reduce its size. Maybe 2 pixels is enough. Maybe that's too less. Maybe 5 pixels. Let's keep that for the time being. And this label, all of these labels are going to have the same kind of font. Okay, let's do that one by one. custom marker felt 16 again. Done. They should also have that. £16. That's it. So 2 of them are ready. Hope that's the size I kept. Okay, this was 20. Okay, at least for this one I had a 20 pixels, 20 font size. So let's see, 20, because it's going to look like something like some font. If let's say if it is it's going to pick up hex code, so it's going to look something like this, and it's also going to represent that color over here. So I'm going to add because this is already within, maybe I can add these two, and on the right side again I can bring one more stack view and then add one. I can have it horizontal stack view and add one more button. I'm going to have it as a fill button, then add it at the right side. Yeah, something like this. So maybe also have some spacing around it. Then that's pretty much the screen. Maybe I'll just set up or everything, let that be within another stack view. Stack view. Then gonna add all the trailing top. I guess that's enough. So 20. I think I need to still fix some of those. This is leading. I should be making it fill. That's fine. Then have this one which is leading, which I can make fill. This must be again fill 10. That's also fine. But then there is, I think, some spacing issue. This is again leading fill. Should solve that. Okay. So pretty much I can now maybe say choose color over here. That's going to be the other thing which we are going to do. Choose a color and then that should reflect here. And this, I'm going to keep this as clear color, and the tint is going to be that purple color which we constantly used everywhere. And other change is that I need a couple of buttons at the bottom. Again, fill button, save, and gonna have a cancel as well, which is a normal button. Cancel. These two comes together. Stack view. Let me set up the constraints. Leading, trailing, bottom, maybe a little bit height for this guy, 40. That's it. And then align it 20 pixels on the left and 20 points on the right, I guess. And then maybe some spacing between these two. Can maybe say, should 20 be good enough? Let's see. Guess that's it. So again, color for this guy has to be, I'm gonna keep it again clear color and purple. So yep, so this screen is almost ready. So let's see how it is showing right now, and then we'll start plugging in the features needed. Add quote, none. Add category, yep, and this is a little bigger comparatively. Maybe I just need to keep that with it should be fine now. Add quote, none. Add category, oops, height too many things to take care. Choose color is in 2 lines. I guess this width is not enough. Maybe 150. Yeah, looks better. That's fine, I guess. Can live with this. So let's start with some colors have not reflected, so maybe I'll try to change some of these colors. Once we implement some of the things, I'll refine it to an extent. So let's get started with bringing that feature to add a color, add a property. So this can be, what's the category? So I'll also add what's the category. Okay, so that's done. So let's bring the feature needed. So we already have the add category view controller available. Now we need to start building the feature. First thing is to save it and then show it in that table view. We'll come backwards. So let's bring that first thing first is the database which is needed to save it. So for that, I'm going to say private let database should be category DB. Categories DB equals, we know it is going to be categories CoreDatabase.shared is what will give us that we already have. So the next step is to bring all the outlets. Assistant, go here at category, bring all the outlets needed. First thing is definitely we need the what's the category. So we need the category text field. Other part is we need to wire this choose color with an action on choose color. Then we need to change this color as well. So we need to grab this view. I'm going to call it as legend view, whose background color will change. Again, this the labels hex, it's going to print the hex code. So I'm going to use that hex code label. Yeah, that's pretty much what we want. And also those two actions of save and cancel, we need to wire that as well. On save and other part is on cancel. So two functions. Let's save this. And let's do the obvious things which are on cancel. We need to anyway pop this out. So I'm going to say on navigation controller, it already has. Then pop to view controller on animated. That obviously is happening. Similarly, that can also happen with on save as well. But then maybe as a last step, that's what is happening. Now the next bit is to add this on choose color logic. So let's bring that, start with, let's go back to add view controller. So on choose color, what should happen? We can use something called as a UI picker, color picker view controller. So I'm going to use that here. So how to use that is like, I'm going to bring let picker equals UI color picker view controller. Let's create an instance of that, and we will say picker so picker has a delegate which we can set it to self, and then we need to present this picker, present picker animated. So what is the view controller we are going to show? That is going to be the picker. Do we need animation? Yes, maybe. and then finally the on what should happen on once it is done. So maybe once that is done, either we can directly say completion can be set to nil, or you can do something else, but I'm just going to call to nil. And then the other part is to listen to this picker delegate. So for that we need to add category ViewController implements this, so that we can have one function which is going to be on select or something, picker, let's say picker color picker delegate gives us did select color. That's enough for us, and it also gives us the view controller reference, what all things should happen on picking a color. It's available here. So on did pick, you are getting a color. So one of the things that we are interested in is the color itself. We can actually store it in a local local reference selected. I'm just going to call I'm going to create a private variable called selected color from the picker. I'm going to keep it string because it's going to be hex code. So to start with, maybe I can maybe make it as I think one color which is what I would like is something I had kept here as a default color. I'm going to use that. If nothing is selected, at least we'll have that color. So selected color, I'm just keeping that. If not, once we receive that color, selected color is going to be color dot. Somehow I will have to convert this into hex code. So for that, I am going to bring some I'm going to bring an extension of color which I'm going to use. This is something which I had found while looking for something which can provide us options to convert a color using hex code. If I pass a hex code, it should give me a color attribute, and vice versa. If let's say I have a color, I can convert it back to hex code or something. So I'm going to use that right now. So let me directly bring that without worrying about what is done there. So it's going to be a UI color extension. I'm going to directly use it from with the copyright and everything available there. I'm just going to call it new color, new file. I'm going to call it UI color plus extension. So these are some of the extensions which I'm using. One is UI ViewController I used once. Now I'm just going to completely get rid of all those and keep that whatever was created by this person called Norman Basham. So I'm going to use that. There are convenience in it's already available. Maybe we can modify based on that. So it is also accepting hex to convert it to a UI color, as well as if I pass a color, it gives me a hex description, which is actually nothing but the hex code which I am looking for. So this is already giving me whatever I need. So I'm going to use that over here because I have already added that extension. I will get that hex description already. So this is already converting my color to an hex description, which I can keep within this selected color attribute. So one other thing after this selection is that maybe once that selection has happened, I can set some of the properties related to that. Something like already we know that I need to change those colors of labels, as well as set that currently selected hex code as well to that field. So what I can do is maybe extend this and do a did set, and then I can say self dot legend color, legend view. Legend view is where I am going to set the background color. So I'm going to say background color equal to, I know this extension is I have already added this extension which gives me a hex to pass a string. I can just say selected color itself. So that will just directly convert this into a color. So that's one part. And the other part is that I can also set the label which I had created, hexadecimal label dot text is equal to it should nothing be but the same hex whatever I am using the selected color itself. So on these two, whenever that set happens to the selected color from, let's say, the picker I choose, and then if I choose a color, it should ideally set that to these two. So that's already happening, plus it's setting to this property because of which this did set fires. So those two are done. I think on the picker side I need to do one more bit which I was looking into is let me just have a look at Category ViewController. So picker should also okay, so it has to have its own first color which it has to set. So pickers, what is the initial selected color? Maybe picker dot selected color. I can maybe set it to the selected color property which I already had. Convert that UI color dot view color hex into the selected color itself. I can set then. Maybe let's try with this one. So I already have the picker defined, and on selection from picker the selected color will be set, plus one more thing I need to do is to dismiss the picker view as soon as that color selection happens. So let's also print what is the color, what is the selected color. Maybe I'll grab this and keep a hex code for this. Let hex code is equal to, okay, maybe I don't need that. I can just say print selected color hex code equals selected color itself. So that's done. So, and finally, after the selection has happened, I need to also do a view controller. This is my picker view controller here. Over here I need to also dismiss that, dismiss animated true, and completion I pass nil. So that should be enough, I guess. So let's see whether this picker is working or not, whether it is choosing the right color or not. I do run, select none, it's crashing. Okay, so instance of it requires a fetch request with sort descriptors. Okay, I think I have missed out the sort descriptor here. Let's try that, because of which it might not work. Sort descriptors, fetch request. I think that fetch request needs a sort descriptor. And let's pass a sort descriptor. With the key, as maybe in this case we can keep it as name, the, and ascending can be true. Yep, so it will show it in the ascending format. Maybe let's try now. Add. Okay, that's cool. Now add category. So it's showing some color over here. I don't think it has picked up that color, but then if I choose a color, yep, it's showing this one. So if I choose some color out of this, it is actually setting it. So I can again try that yellowish color, that's also setting here, and it's choosing. So this is working fine. So next step is to actually do the save, because we already have this working. I can choose any color, gets green, and it's also showing the hex code which we are picking up. So that's pretty much working now. So the next step is to save this within category. So let's do that. So category database is available. I have a save function as well available, where it should accept a category model. So let's go back to, so many things open now. Let me go back to add category view model, and then it should happen on save. So let's see whether what all things we need to check before we can save it. So first thing first, we definitely need a category view model. Category text field, category from category text field or text. You should also check that the category is not nil, not empty. If not empty, that's the first check. Next check is that maybe I'll get rid of this guy, make it optional. Else, so that we know that something is selected or not. So selected color has to be there, is empty. If it's not, no color is selected, I'm not letting this pass through. So this is more like the hex code which we are choosing. So we need a hex code to move along. Is empty, I'm not letting it to pass. Hex code, I think this hex code dot is empty. If not empty, I allow. Two checks, I think those are the two checks which we need. Then that nothing worries me. So otherwise I just print and say I'll say category or color not chosen, and then proceed with it. And if it is already chosen, then let's save that. So for that, I'm going to call the database and call the save function using model, which we have to create a category model which accepts a name which anyway we know is the category, and the legend is going to be the color which we have chosen. Let's choose the hex code. So this should be enough to save it. So internally, let's also see whether category is also setting the UUID of ID which is needed for this category, which is also happening. Name and legend, internally it is creating a UUID. So that's enough. So this should ideally be enough to, I need a return as well here. So it should ideally be saving now the category, and then once that is saved, it should pop back to the previous screen. So let's see whether this is working, and on popping, it should ideally show the category listed in the table view, which might not happen now because we are not bound it with the table view cells yet. So, but at least we'll be able to do the category creation right now. So nothing is listed now. I'm going here. I'm going to call first category as love, which is nothing but under which category is a specific quote applied. So I'm just starting with love, maybe a deep blue or dark red or something for love, and then I'm gonna save it. So it should ideally come here to save. That's coming here, and if I go inside, let's see what is there inside save. So it should come here, and within the context it should not hit any error. Let's hope that. Coming here, saving, and no errors. So it ideally, hopefully it is saved. So now the next step is to start and see whether it is getting listed over here in this table view. So for that, let's start creating the cell which is needed. I'm going to create a cell, new file, Coco Touch class. I'm going to create it as a UI table view cell, and I'm going to call it category cell. I also need the XIB. Quickly create that. One cell created, keeping it closer to the code cell, and we need to do some bit here. So let's expand this, and I'm going to add a label, maybe a view which is to show the color, the legend color. That's my view. And maybe I'll remove its background color. I make it clear color so that this view is available. Plus I'm going to add one more view, which is to show the label within this view. Maybe a little bit of spacing. Let's bring these guys together within a stack view. Maybe reduce its width. 10 will be enough. And let's bring content view, stack view, alignment, leading, top, trailing, bottom. Maybe I'll also set a height so that $40 will be enough, I guess. Let's see the constraint ones. I think I'll have to reset the bottom. Bottom space. I think the rest of the constraints which I set are not right. Maybe I'll get rid of those. This is my stack view. It is against the content view, leading, top, trailing. Should be fine now. So 5, I guess this is fine. Also, let me add a label over here. Some constraints, leading, center align, and then maybe a width. Maybe that smaller bit is enough. Maybe okay, it does not matter because I can set its background color to trailing. Can be this will more look like the category name, and then I need to change its font. Can be 20. Yeah, let's add all the necessary outlets right now. This is the legend view again, so I'm gonna call it legend view, and this is going to be the category label. Also for this, might just change its background color to maybe a slightish gray, so that it's visible in the table view, because I'll be doing that. So this is done. So we have the cell which now needs to be configured. I'm going to call a function called configure with model. We have a model now, category model. Ideally this is not the right way of doing it, but then yeah, we can live with it for the time being, where the configuring is happening using a model. Later we will convert it into the view model part. So can say UI color uses the hex code to create this. I have the legend, which is the hex code, and also the text, or at least the label, which shows the name, model.name. That will be enough. So this is my cell, which is ready now. Let me go back and configure this within the controllers. I have the table view. I can always say table view register with nib, UI nib, and pass the name of the nib, which in this case is we know the name, so we can maybe call it through the string describing which is category cell dot self. That'll be the name. Also bundle will be nil because it's within the same bundle. Cell identifier, again I can keep the same. String identification can also be the same. So the registration also has happened. Now we can implement the data source and other parts. So maybe go back here, close this one, come to the table view, set its data source and delegate, go back, categories, and then let's implement the extensions for TableView data source. So this is going to be Categories ViewController, TableView delegate data source. First thing first, it needs to implement a couple of things. So one is cell 408 index. I think we implemented both the same. Maybe I'll compile it once more. The other part is number of rows in section. That's also done. So we already have the database. This we don't have it. So let's bring the database. Private let database is the categories db equal to categories core database dot shared will give us the database, and now we can use that database to set the number of rows. Dot categories dot count will give us the count, and the other part is to return the cell. Let's do a guard let cell equals table view dot dq reusable cell with identifier for this one. So we know that the identifier is going to be string describing the category cell dot self. And the other part is index path, which we already know, and we can maybe configure it. Else, if not available, then we can say fatal error or something. Cell configure failed, and then we can return the cell. And we already have defined the configure function within that cell, so we can call that to configure. So for configure, have the configure function with model. So we need to get that model, which is available through the database. You can just call this database.categories, pass the index path dot row, that gives us the model. So that's it. So we have done the configuration part as well. So I think this should at least show the first one which we have added. Now let's see that. Let's run. So it shows, but there is a little bit of alignment issues, looks like, which we need to correct right now. I think we have not added the but it is showing that single item which we added. It's not setting that color, maybe, I don't know why. Let's see that. So I go back to the cell. Configuration is fine. Background color should be set hopefully. So if I go back, what are the, I don't know, let's see whether if I change this, something changes. I think it's showing it as white and it's not applying that legend color. I guess that's the reason. So we'll get to know now. No, it's not setting. It's setting it to white for some reason. So let's go back and check. So after it selects, it sends it, the selected color is set, and then we are calling color picker happens, save is happening here, and that specific that is also saved. Now if I go back to categories, I can always see what is getting configured here. Let's see. So if I say clear everything, PO. Okay, so I have set the legend wrong. That's the reason. So we might have to delete everything once more and then redo that. Let's do codes, delete. Go back. Let's see the code once more. Save. Add category view controller. What is going for save? It's the hex code. Selected color is somehow wrong. It's picking up the color, setting up the description, but I think it's happening within the save itself where it is going wrong. Let's see. Not really. Legend somehow was wrong. Again, I think it's again could be with this place. Yeah, this is the problem. So I am not using the legend properly here. Okay, let's go back. Let's do it once more. Add code, choose categories, add category, change color, red, calling it love. Save, nothing is shown because we are not implemented the callbacks yet, so it should show now. So this is working. So we have the categories listed properly. Now is the time to maybe implement the other functions, because as soon as you're saving it, it's not getting reflected. That's because we have not handled any of these callbacks which we need to reflect that. So let's do that as well right now. So go to add categories view model, view controller, and then let's set up the TableView database delegate, which should be self. So this in turn is going to ask me to implement codes database response. It should not be codes database response because it's within category. So there is one change which we need to do right now. It should be categories table database response is what we need. Maybe that will trigger some more changes. So one thing is that it should be, because it's a delegate, we need to cannot be set it as we need to have it as var. And then other change which is it is asking is again some changes which happened here we might have to change. Let's see. It's asking for categories DB is asking for a change. What is it trying to implement? Okay, it's again that response type. Categories database response, that's also taken care. Now we need to implement categories database response so that it real time reflects those changes as and when there is a change happening to categories table or the entity. Categories ViewController should implement this one. In turn, should ask me to implement 3 steps: begin updates, end updates. So this is very pretty simple now. All that I need to do is bind it with the TableView dot begin updates, TableView dot end updates, TableView dot insert rows at index. So pass an array of index path. I have the index path available, and then maybe an animation of fade or something. So this should ideally be enough to make that automatic binding happening. So let's check that once. So this is also done. Add quote, none, and add a category. I'm going to call something as life quotes maybe. So that's a category. So it's all maybe dark blue, life quote, and then save that. So that gets reflected right away here. So life, love, maybe I can even add more wisdom, maybe heartbreak. So what's the color? Maybe I'll go for some different color here. Save. So 3 colors we have. Maybe one more I can add is inspirational quotes. So maybe can have a dark orange or some this yellowish color. That's my 4. So it's actually if you can see, it is even sorting based on the sort descriptor which we defined. So it's alphabetically it's ordering right now. So this is also done. So now we need to implement the other part where as soon as I choose a category, it should go back and get reflected over here. That's what is left. As soon as that is done, and because we already have the save and everything in place, I think as soon as we do this, we will have these codes working and then getting reflected in the first screen. So again, there are some changes which I have done on the main screen as well, which we'll also do. But let's implement this part, this interesting part, where as soon as I choose this, it gets reflected over here with that specific color and that specific name of that category. Plus, as soon as I enter the quote, I should be able to save and go back to the previous screen. So let's do that right now.